So to help you design and plan out your website, your architecture and all your keywords and bring this together, I've actually created this spreadsheet. So hopefully you've used some spreadsheets before, pretty straightforward stuff. But this is a template that you can use to go and fill in the blanks, and it will help you organise your planning and your thinking. Because I know that what you're trying to take on here is probably seems a little bit daunting, but once you see it in front of you, I think you'll find it more and more manageable and you'll be able to cope with it. So this is essentially to design what your website is ultimately going to be. So this home page here is just your silo master. So there's not much going in here. Typically we're looking at probably 3 silos, unlikely to be more than that. As I said, and what you would do here is essentially just specify what your silo is actually going to be about. So when you do your keyword research, you're going to end up with a big pile of keywords. I don't know, 20 keywords, maybe even 100 keywords. Who knows? It's up to you. And when you pull all those keywords in, you then want to group them into related silos. So the example I think we did earlier on was obedience, puppy obedience. So you might that silo 1 might be for you, might be puppy obedience, and all the keywords relating to puppy obedience will get listed down here. And this silo over here might be dog tricks, for instance. So although dog tricks and puppy obedience, you can see the connection. Obviously they're both about dogs, but in terms of keywords they're quite different. So down here you would have a list of all the keywords relating to dog tricks, how to do dog tricks, what's the easiest tricks to do for dogs, and 10 best dog tricks, or all that sort of stuff, right? You've done your keyword research, covered that elsewhere. So that's really the idea here. So you want your at the very top here, obviously you want your biggest, most competitive keywords. These are the ones that you're ambitiously after. And as you go further down towards the bottom of the list, these should be your long tail, easy to rank for. Nobody's really chasing these. That's the how to train your dog to sit in 5 days. Now that specific phrase, there's probably some traffic for it, but the chances are not everybody's really trying hard to get that, and therefore if you have a page and you try to get that, chances are you'll get that phrase altogether, and that would be a good keyword, for instance. So your easier ones down the bottom, and your more challenging ones, these have usually got lots of traffic, they're very relevant, these are the words that will really make you money, and they should go at the top. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. So that just helps you see everything that's going on, and if you've got a few left over, well, you can decide what do you do with them. Do you just ditch them, or do you just write something else? You kind of need to make these. You're going to have some loose ends. Don't worry about it being perfect. That's not what we're after. And then you're now looking at, okay, we now know roughly what we're trying to do. We've got a bird's eye view, which is a silo master page. Dead easy. You then go into each of the silos. So silo 1 will be whatever you give it. So in our case here, our silo 1 was puppy obedience. So we're now into puppy obedience, and all my puppy obedience related keywords and phrases would be down here. And that's your starting point. You're then looking at searches related to this keyword. Now this is something I'm not sure I did show you, but when you do a Google search on a word, so if you type in puppy obedience into Google search, and then you go to the very bottom of the page, what you will see is, try to see if I've got a page open here. Have I got one? Yeah, okay, right. So when you do a search, and whatever it is you search for, in this case here, the phrase was personality testing. When you go to the bottom of the page, you'll see all of these related search items that Google also brings up. Well, what I would do is I would go down to the bottom of Google, copy all of those, do copy. Right, let's do the actual example. What was our example of working with? Was puppy obedience. Okay, so we do our search. You've done the keyword stuff here. You'll see related search down the bottom of the page. Copy all of those, just Control C, and then, there's my document going. That's the thing, that's the thing. Okay, so, and then you come to here, and what to do is simply right click And this is if you're using Google Spreadsheet, but I imagine Microsoft Excel is very similar. But in Google Spreadsheet, you can insert notes or insert a comment. I use the comment facility. Paste that down here, and you'll see that this little thing appears, and you've now got a list of words that Google recognises that if this page, and what it's saying here is if this page is meant to be about puppy obedience, then there's a good chance that you will mention some of these phrases. All right, so Google would expect an article about puppy obedience to have words like puppy obedience classes, puppy obedience training classes, puppy obedience training at home. So if you were writing your super article about puppy obedience, then you probably want to include these phrases if you can in the article without it sounding daft and a bit forced. But try and engineer those phrases into the article as you're writing it. You can just use them as a subheading. Sometimes I do that. And there will be some that you just have to ignore. So puppy obedience training, Preston, well, if you're not in Preston, forget it. There's no point in doing that. So you have to use a little bit of common sense. But if those appear and you're writing your super articles, I think we maybe covered that earlier. So this is what this is. So that's the searches related to this keyword. And you can do that, same exercise for each of the keywords. Then what I suggest you do is write your article title, which of course should include your keyword, but it might have other ones. So if your keyword is puppy obedience, you might want your article title might be puppy obedience for absolute beginners, or for puppy obedience if this is your first dog, or something like that, right? So you can add a little to the article, make it a little longer. Your page URL will just be the same as your article title. So one of those is probably redundant, but I think it's for planning purposes, it's a good idea. And then if you've got an existing site, which you probably don't right now, then you could decide what other pages you could link to that page. So if you're rebuilding a historical site and you're trying to improve a site you've already got, then you can still make use of that link juice. And then what you're looking for is this daisy chain link. And that's the simple case of once you've got 3 or 4 articles, new pages in your silo, then you want to make sure that you're linking this page to this page, and then this page to this page. And each page should link back to your silo header page, your super article, and so on. So we've covered that as elsewhere, but this spreadsheet is just a wee blank spreadsheet you can go and fill in to help you design and structure your whole thing. So really you could design and build your whole site on this spreadsheet so you know exactly what pages are going to come, what you're going to be working on over the next few weeks, and how far you've got to go. You can see the whole thing at a glance in this one spreadsheet. You don't need to wonder, oh, what am I going to do next week? You'll know that I've still got these 3 articles, these 3 pages that have to be written. I need to go and figure out what I'm doing with those. Okay, so that's the tool. I've included the file, so you can just go and import the file from, it'll come in as an XLS file, I think. And you should be able to use either any of your spreadsheet software should be able to open and read this template. So, or other than that, just copy the words here. It's a very simple template, so you shouldn't have too much trouble working on that. Okay, so that will help you bring together all your research into the one place and start making, allow you to organize it and then take more action.